that at the age of 21, I mean, he's barely legal, right? Already making six figures. Right now, these guys are making over $500,000, $600,000 a year. And they've got an incredible organization, and we want to learn how to build it just the way they have. Jeff, if you're on the call, buddy, I'd like to see if let me see. Let's see if I can.
I'm here, brother. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can't
right.
see you. Let me see if I can find you on here. Give me one sec. There we go.
Hey.
What's up, Jeff?
What's up, man? It's good to see you.
Oh, it's good to see you, bro. Man, I know we had something lined up where we were supposed to go out there. Remember that? That was like right at the beginning of this whole COVID. And we weren't able to connect, man. And so it's just good to see you now, even if it's just through Zoom, you know?
Yeah, for sure. You too. And maybe if you do that in the future, we'll meet up. We'll do it again whenever.
Yeah, let's do it, man. That'd be really, really cool, man. Hey, thank you for joining us, Jeff. I know you got a lot of things going on, man. You've got an incredible family and a business to run, but you made the time, and we can't thank you enough for doing it, man. We have what you see as panelists. These guys are either already some of our RVPs or the regional leaders. So everybody here is either RVP or regional leaders. With the exception of my son, he wanted to say hi. He's Nathaniel. He's there trying to wave. But man, we have over 215 people right now listening. And man, the stage is yours, Jeff. Thank you so much, bro. You let it rip, man. We're all ears.
Well, thank you. Well, first of all, before I pull up my slideshow, I just want to let all of you that are on know that you guys have incredible coaches, incredible leaders. I know you guys know that, but I love Alex and Sandra. You know, Alex early on, maybe many of you don't know, but when I moved to Boise, which I'll tell my story here in a second, but I moved 9 hours away when I was 21. I was just turning 22 years old. I'd only been in the business 13 months. I didn't know anything about life, let alone the business. And I moved to a new city. I was scared to death. And there was other people in Boise that had base shops. There was base shops that were doing 30, 40, 50,000. But Alex called me and gave me a referral.
Yeah.
And that referral turned out to be something, right? It never turned into a big leader or a regional vice president or anything like that, but it turned into activity. And I want to let you know, Alex and Sandra, how much I know, Alex, every time I talk to you, man, I say it because at that time, someone who would send a referral to me meant that they believed in me enough to take care of somebody that they knew. And I can't tell you how much it meant to me at that time, man. And so ever since then, I've always just loved you guys and have so much respect and appreciation for you guys. Number one, believing in me, right? You believed in me before I believed in me. But we built a great relationship over the years, and I'm honored to be on tonight. I would do whatever for you guys just because I don't think you realize how much of an impact that made on a young kid moving to a new city that doubted himself. But, you guys were leaders and you were builders. And, so many of my heroes in the business were talking about you guys moving. And you guys made that gesture. I'll never forget it. So thank you so much. I'm honored to be on tonight. It won't let me share my screen. I don't know if you want to make me a co-host.
Yeah,
I think
let's do that.
Panelist.
Let's do that. Yeah, John, if you can. Do that.
I'm gonna start tonight, you guys, with my story. And as I start with my story, I want to start with my story because why is it still not letting me pull it up here? Hold on. Let me see. Files. Let me see if I can. I can do it without that, but for some reason it's not letting me pull it up.
Do you have two devices by chance, or is it just one?
No, I just have one. And I've got it all pulled up. I literally just did it before I got on here tonight too. So maybe it's a setting. I don't know. Let me see.
Take your time, Jeff. We're good. We're good. We got more people logging on. We're about 227 right now.
Let me see if I can pull it up and if this will work. Oh, there we go. I got it. Cool.
Beautiful.
All right. So I want to start with my story. I think that, I'm going to fly through my story, and then I'm going to talk to some stuff about building Alex and Sandra didn't tell me how much time I have, but I'll try to fly through it. I think on these Zooms, after about 30 or 40 minutes, enough, maybe I'll open it up for some questions or whatever.
Yeah.
This is my family, these my beautiful children. I started Primerica when I was 20. And so I didn't have kids. I was just starting brand new. And for those of you that are young, you have all these people you try to coach. You think about, I was 20. The average age of my base shop was probably 40 years old when I started. And, they would always tell me, you don't understand, you don't have kids. And I realized, I want to tell you something I didn't understand. I didn't. But you know what I didn't understand? How they could use their children as excuses. I look at my children today, and nothing would stop me from building a business when I look in my children's eyes. Nothing would stop me. There isn't enough no's. There isn't enough people that would quit. Nothing would stop me from doing enough to get big and provide them a dream life. So while they were right that I didn't understand early on, what they perceived that I didn't understand was totally different. As I started having children, I never understood. Still to this day, in fact, I got tougher. I got tougher because I could not understand how people could have children and they could look in their children's eyes and they could go home early. They could not wake up earlier. They could not make those phone calls and know that the person that was hurting the most was those children that were at home. And so I show this picture early on because I started without kids. Now I have 3 beautiful, amazing children. They're all healthy and beautiful, and I'm blessed. I feel like the luckiest man in the world. But it didn't start that way. It started, I was raised by a single mom. I'm one of 6 kids. My mom never made more than $14 an hour her whole life. And my older siblings, I'm in the middle. So I have 3 older siblings and 2 younger. And we lived in a gang infested environment. This was the actual house. And my brother's best friend got murdered in that front lawn. And he had another friend that got murdered just around the corner, probably a couple months before that. But you'll probably learn tonight, I'm kind of this natural, they're like, dang, I've never been, I don't have I'm not like an outgoing, I'm an introvert, majorly an introvert. I love people, but I just don't have a whole lot to say. And so when that happened, my mom thought, they're like, oh my gosh, Jeff is next. He's crazy. Jeff's probably going to end up dead too. So we got to move. Well, the problem was my mom didn't have any money. And when you move and you don't have any money, we moved to a safer neighborhood for sure. But the problem, instead of gangs and violence, became drugs. And so now we moved into the single wide trailer, and it caused me to just get frustrated with life. I was just pissed off at the world. There's only 2 bedrooms in a single wide trailer. I'm one of 6. I never had a bedroom my whole life. My wife and I, we just bought this beautiful home. I don't know if I have a picture in here. Maybe I do. But I started bawling, like just crying uncontrollably when we moved in our new house. And my wife's like, what are you crying about? I just can't tell you how much it means to me for my children just to have their own bed in a bedroom. They could shut the door, And so maybe if you're on here, you grew up middle class, and I feel bad for you, genuinely. I feel bad for you if you grew up middle class, because I believe it is the worst place that a child could ever be raised. And the reason being is because if you're middle class, it was never that good, but it was never that bad. Everything was pretty okay. For me, I grew up in this environment where we were always poor. We never knew where the next meal was coming from. There was never food in the refrigerator. Now, to give my mom credit, my mom worked very hard, and my mom made a meal every night. Okay, so I do have to give my mom credit. She's the greatest lady in the world. I love her to death. But she didn't have anything. And the older I got, the more I realized that it was because of what the world taught her. See, my mom is educated. See, by the world standards, my mom is smart. My mom has 2 bachelor's degrees. My mom has 1 bachelor's degree. She wasn't making enough, so she went back to school. And this is where the problem happened, okay? The problem happened when my mom had one bachelor's degree and wasn't making enough money. So guess what they told her to do? Well, if you go back to school and get another degree, you can make more money. Well, that's where it happened, because then my mom would work during the day and at night she would go to school. And so now the streets raised my brothers and sisters. Believe it or not, probably the greatest thing that happened to me in my life, the thing that probably saved my life, the thing that brought me to Christ was actually I got in a street fight. That's kind of crazy. I was 12 years old. I was obviously we weren't in a good neighborhood. You know, these kids, whatever, you know what happens with kids. And I get in a street fight, and this guy that owns a boxing gym invites us in so we didn't get arrested. And said, why don't you guys come in here and handle it with gloves on? Y'all don't get hurt. Y'all don't get in trouble. And so we did. And he at the end of that fight, we went and put on gloves and box. He said, hey, if you want to come back in tomorrow, I'll train y'all for free. Well, I kept going back for the next 8 years. I've never missed a day. I started going to church because I wanted to go to the gym on Sunday. I told my trainer, I go, what I got to do to go to the gym on Sunday? He goes, we don't go to the gym on Sunday. See, in a bad neighborhood, if you have a day off, you don't want a day off. You don't want to, in a bad neighborhood, they call it catch you slipping, right? I don't want to be caught slipping on a bad day or whatever, walking through the wrong street or whatever. And so I just wanted to be in the gym. It was a good place. The man who ran the gym was a good man. Here I was at 12 years old. So what I got to go to the gym on Sunday? He said, we don't go to the gym, go to church on Sunday. I go, I didn't ask you that. What do I got to do to go to the gym on Sunday? He goes, if you go to church with me, I'll let you go to the gym after church. I go, done. If that's all I got to do is go sit and listen to some dude talk about Jesus, I'm in. It was the first time I ever went to church, and changed my life. I started boxing, and it just made me really think. Here was a picture of me. In fact, on the right-hand side, you could see me with a black eye. I was in Primerica for like 6 months at that time. See, on the left-hand side, actually, those are my buddies. I grew up with my buddies. They all boxed except for I don't know, one of those kids in there didn't. But believe it or not, that trophy that kid's holding on the right was my trophy. I had been in Primerica for like 6 months. I was doing $20,000 in my base shop. I was the honoriest kid you ever met. You didn't see me smile ever. Even in Primerica, I didn't smile. I thought everybody was weird. Everybody called me a stud. I still wouldn't smile. I go to the meetings. I didn't have anything to say, but I wanted to win so bad I couldn't stand it. I wanted to be somebody. And I just saw boxing as being a professional fighter was my way out. And I that was it. This was the piece of junk car that I drove when I started Primerica. It had 230,000 miles on it the day I bought it,
Wow.
The paint was so faded. Crazy, huh? The paint was so faded. I never washed it because it did. Sold it with like 360,000 miles on it. I drove that sucker. I always tell everybody, you want to drive a car into the ground, buy a Toyota. It'll last forever. It's a good field training car. But I'm a car guy too. And so I was embarrassed driving this thing around. I wanted to be successful. I always tell everybody on my team, becoming rich was not an option for me. And here's what I tell people. If being successful is an option for you, it will never be an option for you. Because the only people that succeed are people that success to them is not an option. They're going to succeed. And so for me, driving this car, living in that trailer was a blessing. It was something that gave me this hunger on the inside where I didn't care I still don't care what anybody thinks about me. I didn't care what anybody was going to say to me. I was going to succeed regardless. As long as it was moral, ethical, and legal, I was willing to do whatever I had to do to provide a great life for my family. And so what happened was about this time, I was driving this car and I was doing advertising and marketing for a living. And here's how stupid we are before Primerica, a lot of you guys. I was making pretty good money. I started advertising and marketing, and when I was 19 years old, I made $7,400 my first month. But when you're broke and you're poor, you have poor habits. And so I spent every penny I'd ever make. I didn't buy a new car. I was trying to get my wife to marry me, right? So I would take her out to dinner every night, lots in a rose, and all the stuff that is like not wise to do, but that that's what I did in advertising. So I got my income up to where I bought a new car. Like, that's how crazy it was. So on the outside, I looked broke. On the inside, I felt like I was rich, but I was still broke, but I was making good money. And I loved what I did, by the way, because I've always been a good artist. So I'm always good at art. I have that. I don't know why God gave me this gift. I just have this gift of art. And so I loved advertising and marketing. I would drive around town. I would see my own billboards. I would see my own TV commercials on TV, my own radio ads and print ads. And I was good at it. And I loved it. I never planned on changing. I probably would have done it until I died if nobody would have prospected me in Primerica. What happened, though, is this girl that I went to high school with, I didn't even like her. And this is why some of you guys, you need to put everybody down on your list. If you're brand new or you've been in the business for 6 months and you haven't gone through your yearbooks and your Facebook, you have to put everybody on there. Everybody. I don't care if you know their name, they know your name, put them on their list. Because this girl, her name was Jennifer, she put me on her list. Well, I didn't like Jennifer. I didn't dislike Jennifer. I just didn't like her. And the reason being is because Jennifer was the girl that always left early. Left early and showed up late to everything. School, I knew her in high school. She would show up to school 30 minutes late and she would leave 20 minutes early. Wow. I worked with her one time and she would show up late and leave early. So she had no credibility with me. I just thought, the reason I didn't like her is I thought she was lazy. And I grew up tough. Like, it was hard for us. There was no we didn't have a choice to be lazy. And so I looked at this girl who life was kind of like easy for and everything. She just was like treated life like a joke. And I just didn't like her for it. But she put me on her list. And Brandon Neal, some of you guys know, is $1 million earner in Primerica, youngest $1 million earner in Primerica before Mario took his record. Brandon Neal came into my job. And I met Brandon Neal, and I met him, and I said, that dude's successful. I could just tell. He didn't tell me how much he made. He didn't talk to me about Primerica. I just met him, and I knew he was successful. And he had followed up with me for 1.5 years. And even though I knew he was successful, you guys, I didn't think that I could do Primerica. Now, I want you to know, I always believed in Primerica. I never doubted Primerica was real. I knew it would work. I knew everybody needed what Primerica did. I knew my mom needed this stuff, so everybody else did. I just didn't think I could do this. I mean, I loved Primerica. Anybody that said, oh man, it's amazing, you should do it, that was me for 1.5 years. And then my pay got cut. 20 minutes after my pay got cut, Brandon Neal called me. So here he is. He called me for 77 weeks in a row. I know the day I met him. I know the day I got started. I promise you, where there was never a week he didn't call me, set up a time. I would, back then we didn't have iPhones. We had flip phones, right? There was no, it wasn't, I'm only 35, so I'm not that old, but, we had flip phones where you flip them open. You didn't have caller ID. You would just flip the phone open when somebody called. And I would answer it, and it would be Brandon. I would go, oh, and I would hang up, right? And once in a while, I'd set an appointment with him at a coffee shop. I'd tell him I was going to be there, and I didn't show up. I would tell him I was going to come to the op meeting. I didn't show up. This happened for 1.5 years. And finally, he called me one day. My pay had gotten cut. I was supposed to get a $12,000 check. It was $7,000. I was pissed. I can't even tell you how mad I was. I worked for my mother-in-law, by the way, which made me even be more angry because I just got my pay cut by my mother-in-law. So I was angry. 20 minutes later, Brandon Neal calls me. This is why you got to follow up. You guys, he followed up with a 19-year-old ornery kid that always had black eyes from fighting for 1.5 years. And I'm so grateful for it. And I always ask him, I'm like, dude, why did you follow up with me? Like, I was the orneriest kid in the world. Every time you saw me, like, you can't see now, but I got scars on my knuckles. I used to hit the punching bag so much I could stand a pencil up inside the scars, and on my knuckle. I was ornery, Like, why would you follow up with a guy like me? Like, I wouldn't follow up with me. And he goes, Jeff, I'll never forget the first time I met you. You said you wanted a Ferrari and an island in the Bahamas. And I go, yeah, who doesn't? Like, everybody wants a Ferrari. Everybody wants an island. He goes, no, Jeff, everybody doesn't, believe it or not. I'm like, well, they're just stupid. Who doesn't want an island? And this was my thinking back then, right? Like, I just thought everybody wanted to succeed. So he follows up with me for 1.5 years. I finally go down. This is on a Friday night, mind you. I'm taking my girlfriend, who today is my wife. She's 17 years old, still in high school. I'm 20 years old. She's 17, still in high school. I take her out to dinner on a Friday night because I just got paid, and I'm pissed because my pay just got cut, but we had dinner planned. I take her to dinner, and at dinner I said, hey, babe, I told this guy that I would go to a meeting at his office after we go to dinner. Can we just pop by real quick and then we'll leave? She goes, sure. We go down to the meeting, and his office was like this piece of junk office. We go downstairs. I'm 6'1". I could not even stand up in the room. Like the ceiling was like 5'10". So I'm like walking through, and I sit down and I'm like, Mr. Like, I love Primerica, but I ain't doing this. I know why he's got me there. And my wife is elbowing me the whole time. And I'm like, what? And she goes, Jeff, the guy's making 30 grand a month. I go, do you know how hard I will have to work to make 30 grand a month? And this was my wife. She was going to school full-time in high school. She was going to college full-time, and she was working a full-time job at Best Buy. She goes, Jeff, I work full-time at Best Buy and I make $1,000 a month. I got to work for 3 years to make what he made last month. I don't care how hard it is, Jeff. And she goes, you're starting this. And I'm so glad that Kelsey was only 17, because if Kelsey was 18, she would have done the business. I wouldn't have. And who knows where we would be today. But God has a plan, And so we showed up. We said yes. I started working part-time one night a week. I didn't think I could do this business. I started one night a week because Kelsey made me. And so for the first 9 months, we did pretty good. We got off to a fast start. We did 16 recruits and 12,000 premium our first month in the business. We were averaging about 20 by 26 months into the business, or 9 months into the business, I'm sorry. And Brandon tried to get me to quit my job. I didn't want to quit my job. I was scared to death. I didn't think I could do Primerica. I know we were doing 20 by 20, but I didn't think I could do it. And so I didn't want to quit my job. So Brandon finally talks me to quit my job. And he says, Jeff, you need to quit. Your job is getting in the way of your business. So I said, all right, dude, whatever. I'll quit my job, but this better freaking work, And he goes, I'm telling you, Jeff, 3 months later, we qualified for RVP. And we went on RVP and we moved to Boise, Idaho. And this is where we moved into. And it was a mother-in-law's quarter. I mean, you guys, I'm embarrassed. Like, seriously, I can't even believe we lived there. Like, who would move their wife into that thing, And it was $500 a month. And we got our income to $100,000 a year living there. Wow. And I'll never forget, everybody would criticize us going, if you're making so much money, why do you live there? And I remember telling them stuff like, look, you can't feed your children your couch or your car, but I'm saving my money. And I was genuinely saving my money. And so we got our income over 100,000. So my wife talked me into moving because the air conditioner broke on this place. The air conditioner broke and they wouldn't fix it. So we moved, and we moved into a $625 a month. I don't even know what you call this. It ain't an apartment, but it ain't a condo. Whatever you want to call it. But it was $625 a month. It was in the bad area of town. All my neighbors were crackheads. I can't tell you how many times I got pulled over by the police because I drove a brand new Cadillac, right? A black Cadillac. I was 21, 22 years old. Cops pull me over every day. They swear I sold drugs. I had random people coming in and out of my house. My hours were weird. I mean, I get it now, right? But we got our income over 200,000 at this place. So here we were making 20 grand a month. I didn't even own a couch. I didn't buy a couch because a couch is to sit in. I don't want to sit. The only reason you need to sit down at your house is to watch television. I wasn't trying to watch television. I didn't own a television. I don't own a couch. We don't own pots and pans. We don't own nothing. We had a bed at our house to get ready in the morning and leave. That's all we had. And then we got our income up to 200. We moved into this place. It was $1,125 a month. It was a little three bedroom, 2-bath house in Boise. And we saved our first $1 million living here. We got our income up to 400,000 in 2009. I was 24 years old. So I started making 40 grand when I was 23 a month. And then I turned 24, went over 400,000. So here I am. I've been making 40 grand a month for like 13 years. I mean, it's crazy. And this is what it looked like, right? This was year one was 2006. I was 21. I was 20, but I turned 21 a month later. So we'll just call it 21. 22 was in 2007. We made 115,000. 2008, we made 220. And 2009, we made 465,000. By the time I was 26, we were cash millionaires. We had saved $1 million. We had $1 million invested. I'm not talking net worth, none of that. I'm talking invested, right? We were completely debt free. We're making 40 grand a month. So we decided my dream was always to live in a high rise. You know, if you ever lived in a city, you always see the rich dudes live in the penthouses in the big cities, you know? So that was me. I wanted to live in one. I'm like, the only people live up there is Batman. You know, I got to live up there one day. And so my wife, seriously, my wife went on vacation to Las Vegas. She was on vacation without me, first of all, and then bought a house without me while she was in Las Vegas. So she bought this house. This was our view. She knew it was my dream. We moved into to Las Vegas in 2011 with the goal to just do it all over again. So July 4th of 2011, we moved to Las Vegas, and then there we went over SNSD, 600,000 of income, that kind of stuff. We built this house, which any of you guys on YouTube, you know, CJ So Cool, he's one of the biggest personalities on YouTube. I think 8 or 9 million followers. He owns this house now. We built our dream home. We put 400 grand into the backyard. You know, again, he owns it. This is the house we just bought. We just bought it. It's on a state park. This is our backyard. You know, our kids go run down in there and play. I mean, it is just, it's like a dream. I can't even tell you. People don't even believe me. They go, that's really your backyard? I'm like, yeah, I took it with my iPhone. It's like at the end of my street, you know? It's just crazy. We've been able to do all kind of stuff, you know, and it's hard for me, honestly, to brag. I mean, I've been able to buy exotic cars and, you know, his and hers BMWs, which is cool. You know, my wife drives a $100,000 Escalade, and one day we were picking our kids up from school and I bought a boat. I just like, it was totally accidental, but you know, it was like, I don't know, $100,000, and just being able to do that stuff is amazing. You know, you guys got to realize I came from a poor family. It wasn't just me that was poor. My whole family was. And Kelsey's family was all rich. Her family were all doctors, and her grandpa was a very famous doctor in Hollywood. And he also was one of the first franchisors or franchisees of Baskin Robbins. And so they were this mega successful. All her family was super rich. And so here is this kid from the trailer park. I talked Kelsey into dropping out of college to do Prime America, you know, and all these doctors are criticizing us, telling us we're crazy. And so I want you guys to know, those of you guys listening, that's normal. Yeah. But today, Kelsey and I, all of those doctors look up to us. All of them. We don't look up to the doctors. They look up to us. But when I started Primerica, I didn't look up to them because I didn't want their life, honestly. I see their life. I mean, I respect what they do. I appreciate it. Lord knows we need good doctors in this country. But I didn't want their life. And they criticized me because I was this poor kid from a trailer park. And now today, you know, so when I married my wife, I want you to know at our wedding, my father-in-law on the microphone said, I'm skeptical about this. I have it on video. Still today, I give him a hard time about it all the time because just bought a house. We put the down payment on his house. We're the one that have said, I mean, we've done everything for him. And that didn't make me angry, you guys. It put me in a person, like, I understand it's his daughter. It's my job to deliver for her. I don't blame him for being skeptical, but it gave me a reason. Right. And so, you know, my wife's on our 30th anniversary, I sent her down to the car dealership, go buy whatever you want, you know, whatever, Rolexes. And I was a boxer. I've sat ringside at every Floyd Mayweather fight since 2011, so, except for the Mayweather and McGregor fight, which y'all saw Mario was at that fight. I gave him my tickets. I didn't give them to him. I sold him my tickets. That's how Mario was at the Mayweather McGregor fight. But that's Muhammad Ali. You can see on the right-hand side, Muhammad Ali is the godfather of boxing. I mean, if you don't like Muhammad Ali, then you probably don't like Floyd either, and there's probably something wrong with you. So anyway, but these are more Floyd Mayweather ringside tickets. If you guys know what a ringside fight costs to sit and watch Floyd Mayweather fight ringside, you're paying $100,000 for the night for you and your wife, you know. And I don't pay that, but that's what it costs for most people. You know, we've been able to travel all over the world. You know, when the company went public, they put us up at the presidential suite at the Waldorf Astoria, which is just crazy. Every winter, we stay on an island called Eleuthera. It's my favorite place in the world. Lenny Kravitz lives on this island. We see him every time we're there, which is kind of cool. You know, we've just been able to do all this amazing stuff, take our team to incredible trips, go see 7 wonders of the world, go to Hawaii, Puerto Rico. I mean, our company going public. I mean, think about this. This is a kid that was in a trailer not that many years ago. And here we are, just changed our lives. You know, how about being able to build a relationship? In fact, we got chosen to go to the meeting of the Giants with Art Williams. And when we were there, everybody was like, kind of like nervous to talk to him, but not me. Everyone, we were taking a break. I walked up. I'm like, I just started talking to him. And he says, where are you from? I go, Las Vegas. And Art says, Jeff, you know my favorite city in the world. I've traveled all over the world. I got my own jet. My favorite city in the world is Las Vegas. I go, no way. He goes, give me your cell phone number. Next time I'm out there, I'll come to a meeting for you. I go, yeah, right. I swear to you, he called me one day. I about fell out my chair. And this was in 2014. And he came to speak for us. He did a meeting at our office. And since then, we've built a relationship. And
Wow.
if I have a question or someone says Art said, you know, he'll finally email now. I used to fax. I used to have to write him a thing and fax it to him, right? That's the way he would communicate. Like our text message, I would write on a sheet of paper, fax it to him. He would write on a sheet of paper, fax back, you know? And now he'll finally send an email. And, you know, it's just crazy that we've been blessed enough. Here's a kid from a trailer park that now here I am with a billionaire. And if I need advice, I just call a billionaire. You know, I mean, it's just, I feel like the luckiest man in the world, you know, and this is our track record. We've been paid almost $8 million in Primerica now. And I want you to know it was an easy trade-off. I'm not telling you it was easy, but the trade-off was easy. I want you to know that like on when Kelsey and I came into Primerica, we got married November 17th of 2007. Okay. We got our ring that year. So we were grinding like crazy. Here's what happened on our honeymoon. When we got married on Saturday after Saturday training. So we went to Saturday training. We arranged our meeting around Saturday training. Brandon Neal, my upline, was my best man. So he went and did training. I went and we were all at training, all of us. We left training and went and got married. We got married on Saturday. On Sunday night, I was doing my base shop conference call. And on Sunday night, I do my base shop conference call. I hang up the phone and I look at Kelsey. I go, babe, we got to go home. Like, what are we doing on a honeymoon? Like, seriously? Like, she goes, you're right. Let's go. And on Monday morning, we woke up and we drove home. We had an all expense paid for honeymoon. And we just didn't even want to be there. We'd rather be building a business. Sweet. The first 4 years of us being in the business, I was on appointments on Christmas for the first 4 years. I closed a sale. Actually, for the first 5 Christmases in Primerica, I closed a personal sale on Christmas Day. Thanksgiving's easy. Everybody's social on Thanksgiving, right? But I made it a goal. Like I was going to close a sale on Christmas. December was going to be our biggest month of the year. And so for me, for the first 4 years, you guys, on our anniversary, we were working. On our birthdays, we were working. I can legitimately, this is not stage talk. I can tell you for the first 4 years of our career, we never took a day off. And I'm not scared to like turn off people, because if you want what we have, you have to be willing to do what we did. But that's the reason we made 40 grand a month on average our 4th year in the business, is because of the price we were willing to pay. So now here we are, we're young kids, you know, 35 and 33, and we have total freedom. Total freedom, multi-millionaires. And I just can't even believe that our life is that good. And so I want to go over some things about, I think I have really 4 fundamental things or 4 fundamental keys that I think will help you build a business. I know your guys as leaders. I know they are phenomenal teachers of fundamentals. I know who they are. I know that you could go become SNSDs with their leadership. You just have to make a decision to do it. And so tonight I'm not going to teach on fundamentals or any of that, which a lot of people in Primerica know me as the fundamentals guy. But I want to talk to you about 4 things that I think will help you build teams. Because at the end of the day, that's what matters. See, coming here at a young age, 24, at 23, we became national sales directors. We were the youngest national sales directors in Primerica history at that point. I don't know. Someone might have beat it. Doesn't really matter. But 23 years old, being a national sales director, I think is a pretty good team, right? I mean, it could have been better, but it's pretty good. And so here's some of the things that I think that we really focused on. So number 1, the key to building big teams is all about building personal relationships, right? You got to help your people believe in themselves. Listen, on my team call tonight, here's what I said right before I got on this call. I told them, I said, listen, I said, here, if I can find it real quick, because this goes into this point right here. I prepared for this like a week ago, so I'm on here now, but see if I can find it real quick. Oh, yeah. Remember this. A team doesn't need a coach to help them underperform. They can do that on their own. They need someone to help them believe in themselves so that they can think bigger, stay focused, and somebody that they can learn from. The fact of the matter is you need to help your people believe in themselves more than they believe in themselves, so much that they believe that everything that happened, even though it happened because of you, happened because of them, because they're so good. You want them to think that. You want them to believe in themselves beyond belief, because you have to always remember that your people are your biggest asset, not your money or your house or all that. Your people, the people that got you to where you're at, are your biggest asset. So you got to let every recruit know you believe in them every time you see them. I don't care if you see them on Zoom. I don't care if you see them on FaceTime, or I don't care if you see them in person, right? Every time you see them, you need to let them know that you believe in them. Now, understand that when I say every time you see them, this is a one-on-one business. This is a face-to-face business. Now, we're doing this face-to-face, okay? I want you to understand that. So I don't care if the face-to-face is technology. I don't care if it's sitting at their kitchen table in their house, which I think that you're crazy, honestly, if you're the kind of person that is letting COVID scare you, okay? Now, you should be smart, okay? But you're crazy if you're going to let it change the way you live, okay? Don't let the government tell you some bull crap about your life, because they would love to control you, and so will everybody else. But never forget, this is a one-on-one business, a face-to-face business, built at the kitchen table and showcased at the op meeting. So how many kitchen tables or how many qualified appointments you do this week are going to show up on like a training tonight or your op meeting, right? When a group of people get together, that's the real business that you have. That's how you showcase your business, right? You don't win with products, contests, or commissions. That's not how you win. You win with people. You win with people. And if you win with people, what is the thing you should get the best at? People. So often in Primerica, I hear people always talking about, you got to get the best at this, you got to get the best at that. And you do, okay? You need to get good at those things. But the thing you need to get the best at is people. If you can get good at helping people believe in themselves, they'll believe in themselves enough to go for it. And if they'll try it, they'll succeed. Do you guys know that, I don't know if you know this, but have you ever seen these, like, growing up in Utah or living in Nevada, there's a lot of, and then we lived in Idaho, there's a lot of farms in all three of those states. And they will put these little fences, right? And the fences will be like, kind of like picket fences, but they're not picket fences, but you can't see through to the other side. And you go, well, how does that stop the wildlife from getting in? But did you know most animals will not jump a fence that they can't see the other side where they're going to land on? Because they don't know if they land on the other side, if they're going to break their leg and die. But did you know human beings are the exact same way? They will not try anything that they can't see the result from unless somebody believes in them enough to tell them, go for it. You can do it. I believe in you. See, some of you, your people do 5x5 and you tell them, dude, you can do 6x6, and tell them, what if you went for 20x20 this month? I think you could do it. Or what if you had someone on your team doing 20x20? You said, what if you went for 50x50? Or what if you went for the top 20 in the company? I believe you could do it. See, a lot of the times people can't see the other side of the fence, and you're not letting them see it with your belief in them. Mm-hmm. So always remember, when you look at each person in your organization, pretend they have a big neon sign on their chest that says, make me feel special and make me feel important. Now, when you do this with people, you've got to remember that you can't lie to them. See, I'm the kind of person that, if you ever heard me do a prospecting training or whatever, I teach people to say, hey, excuse me, can I ask you a question? Because when I came into Primerica, you know what everybody in Primerica taught? Walk up to someone and say, hey, Alex, that's a nice shirt. Well, I promise you this, if you would have walked up to me and said, hey, that's a nice shirt, I would have been so offended. I'm like, are you serious? Like, where'd you get it? I don't freaking know. Or if somebody says, hey, man, nice weather outside. I'm like, yeah, of course, you were just out there, dummy, right? Like, that's who I was. And so, but I'm the kind of guy you want to recruit. I love people telling me we all love to be made feel special. We all love when we feel important. All of us. I don't care what anybody says, but I want it to be the truth. So one of the things I made a commitment to do is I made a commitment to look for the great things in other people and tell them. But you know what it did to my life? It made my life amazing, because guess what I was always doing? Looking for the great things in other people. How awesome of a life that everything you do in your life, you're always looking for everything that everybody does right, when most people are always looking for what everybody does wrong. So look at for what people not for who they are now, but who you can develop them into. See, I always wanted to look at somebody and go, I don't care where you're at now, but what can I develop them into? What, with my coaching, my leadership, my mentorship, my belief in them, what can they develop into? I believe you could be $1 million earner. You could be an SNSD. Man, we're going to conquer the world. You and me together, man, there ain't nothing that can stop us. See, all somebody needs is somebody to lock arms with. See, the Google boys had each other, Sergey Brin and Larry Page. Mark Zuckerberg, right? Y'all know he had freaking Justin Timberlake. It wasn't really Justin Timberlake. It was Sean Parker, but y'all get the point if you've seen the movie, right? We all know that every great leader, John Addison had Rick Williams. Mm-hmm. Glenn Williams got Peter. Yeah. Every great company had somebody they could lock arms with and said, let's go conquer the world. You need to be that person for them. Number 2, building big teams requires you have passion about what you do. See, you get passion by loving it. You know, where I grew up in southern Utah, I grew up literally on the edge of an Indian reservation. And I don't know, someone the other day told me that was politically incorrect. Well, I don't really care. But I grew up next to an Indian reservation, okay? And some of my best friends lived on the reservation. And I'll never forget, one of my friends told me this story, and probably if you heard me talk before, I've said it so many times because I'll never forget it. I learned it before Primerica. But it's a story about an old Indian chief talking to his grandson. And the Indian chief is talking to his grandson, and the grandson goes, look, Grandpa, look at the wolves fighting in the distance. And he goes, yeah, I see, grandson. And he says, what wolf is going to win? And he goes, well, first of all, grandson, you need to understand that there's 2 different wolves out there. One wolf is sorrow, envy, depression, despair, sadness, defeat, fear. And he goes, and the other one, grandson, is excitement and joy and happiness and fulfillment and belief. And he goes, well, grandfather, which one is going to win? And he goes, well, that's an easy one to predict, grandson. Whatever one you feed is the one that will win. And so when you come into Primerica, I know when I used to hear about people talking to Primerica, they go, man, I just love it, right? They go, man, I love this thing. And I would be sitting in the crowd going, you love this? Like, I hate everything about it. I have to talk to people. I don't want to talk to people. I don't want to go to a kitchen table appointment. What do you love about this crap? Well, you know why? Because I was focused on the negative wolf. But as soon as I started focusing on, man, I can make my dreams come true. I can get financially independent. I could change this person's life. I could help them get out of debt. I could save marriages. I could have children go to colleges debt-free. I could help someone become an SNSD and set their family up forever. As soon as I started focusing on the things that I love, all of a sudden I became passionate about it and I couldn't stop thinking about it. Mm. You fall in love with this business when you focus on the things that you love about it, and then you become passionate. Mm. See, Art said you can't ever do anything big if you just like it. You got to love it. It's got to be something that keeps you up at night. Whether it's winning for your family, getting debt-free, financially independent. See, the first thing for me, I want you all to know, was saving $1 million. I wanted to become a millionaire. See, I ask my team all the time. I go, you want to become a millionaire? They go, yeah. I go, how much you got to save a month to become a millionaire in 10 years at 12%? They go, I don't know. What's $42.50 a month? If you don't even know, you ain't going to do it. How much you got to do it in 5 years? $12,500 a month at 12% is $1 million in 5 years. If you don't know how much you got to save, how are you going to do it? See, I knew exactly how much I had to invest in order to become a millionaire. I knew what I had to do, and that's why we did it. But then you heard me give a talk. Anybody's been in the business for a while at Puerto Rico, where I said it's got to be bigger, because at the end of your life, there's only so much money, right? Once you got enough money, then what? There's got to be something bigger. I wanted to change lives. I wanted to set my family up for generations. So you got to understand that this is a serious business. We change people's lives. We're not selling soap or potions or lotions. Art said we make hundreds of thousands of dollars. A difference in people's lives is a big deal. You guys, we've paid 7 death claims this year because of COVID. 7 people have died that we insured. We delivered death claims. One of them was to a young girl in our office, dad, that was at an op meeting in February. Now we delivered a check to his family for $250,000. Another one had a $500,000 policy, and in January called and lowered it to $100,000. Because we change people's lives. I just had a Filipino client of mine call me. This guy, I love this guy. He's a barber. I'm not going to say his name because he's a pretty good, famous barber now in Las Vegas. But a Filipino guy. When I met him, he had been in the United States for like 8 weeks. Barely spoke English, didn't trust anybody, but somehow he got lucky and hit the American lottery, he said, right? That's like his view, right? I got lucky and I ended up in America. I talk him in, he was making $5,000 a month cash cutting hair, right? And he's a barber. So I said, dude, let's take $1,000 a month and put it in a mutual fund. This was like 10 years ago. The guy's got like 450 grand with me right now. He calls me up crying and goes, Jeff, I want you to know, you take the village I grew up in, add everybody's money, times it by 10. And I got more money than that my whole village had times 10 ever in their whole lives. Because you showed up at my house that day and just said, save $1,000 a month. I want you to realize how many people are going into people's homes, changing people's lives in Primerica because they have the guts to get on an appointment. And they realize that we do change people's lives. You keep the passion by never forgetting the things that blew your butt out of the water. See, when I got started in Primerica, I'll never forget my first override check was $360. See, when I joined Primerica, we didn't have like direct deposit. Primerica paid checks 2 times a week and they would come in the mail like forever, right? POL updated once a week. I know this sounds like way back in the day, uphill and snow both ways, but I'm telling the truth. Like this is really how it worked, right? You couldn't write an app on your phone. It did not exist, okay? And I remember they used to put the checks in like these little folders, right? We would go in a file cabinet and we would open it up and we'd grab our policies and we'd pick up our checks. And I remember I didn't write a policy for like 3 weeks. And I open it up and I pull out a check and I go, Brandon, what's this for, dude? And he goes, bro, Kurt wrote an app. That's an override. I go, what? Like, dude, I didn't even do anything. I didn't even know he wrote an app. He goes, bro, that's called an override. I'm like, this is the greatest thing I have ever heard of in my life. I was so pumped up, I could not stop thinking about that. I recruited a dude who got a license, wrote a cell, and I made $300. I can't tell you how exciting that was for me. So that excited me, but I never forgot the crusade. See, I'm a crusader. I will fight you for the crusade. You know, I know some people in my organization think I'm crazy, you know, but I want you to know I ain't going to let you take advantage of somebody. I don't care if they're not my family or friends. I take it personally. I don't know how you could, I don't know how you could sleep at night selling trash value life insurance. You know that they're going to be 70 years old and their policy is going to lapse and they're going to have no insurance and no savings, and you don't care? I think those people should go to hell. I believe with everything inside of me that you win with your heart, not with your head. Listen, none of this makes logical sense. It doesn't make logical sense that 14 years ago, some kid in a trailer park would now be a multi-millionaire, and all my neighbors, like my neighbor is a CEO of a pharmaceutical company, and he's always asking me, so what do you do again, dude? Like, how do I get your life? I'm like, bro, you're too smart. You got like 6 master's degrees and a PhD and all this kind of, you know, because he tried to figure everything out logically. This isn't logical. It's emotional. The secret to winning in business, Art said, is heart power. You capture the heart, you capture the man. How often do you talk to someone's heart and their dreams and their desires and what moves them? Because you win on emotion, not on logic. Right? I think another thing that helped us grow is we grew by multiplication, not an addition. This is a true story. We went RVP. It took us 12 months to get 100 people showing up. 6 months later, we had 1,000. 18 months later, after I signed an RVP contract, we had 1,000 people showing up. In fact, almost nobody I don't even think anybody in the company has seen these pictures. Watch this. I'll even show you as I go through this real quick. Yeah. I think that so often in Primerica, people forget to grow by multiplication. They forget. And I don't know why they forget. I don't know if it's you doubt yourself. I don't know if it's you wonder whether or not it's really going to happen for you. I don't know why it is that people forget that we grow by multiplication, but we do. We're supposed to grow, and we're supposed to grow fast. Okay, I'll show you this. Check this out. So this is my first big event after I went RVP. Okay, you can see this picture. Here's Kelsey and I all the way to the left of the picture. We're just little kids, you know. One of the girls in there, her husband is now a PGA. We have 2 of those people. Actually, 3 of them are regional vice presidents. Think about that. So that's us. That's our first big event in Idaho. Here's us getting recognized as the #1 recruiters in Idaho. We're still regional leaders because I failed my dang securities test, right? And then let's see if I can find our first big event real quick. I just was putting this together for a talk that I'm going to give with our team. So check this out. This was 18 months after we became an RVP. That wasn't my uplines event. It was my event. I was 22 years old. Wow. 1,000 people showing up. And I tell you that when you're supposed to grow by multiplication, I want you guys to know that it's supposed to happen. You know, a lot of times we hear people with stage talk and these stories and we wonder, did it really happen? I'm here to tell you, yes, there's no reason for us to embellish. But I really believed in recruiting directs and helping them recruit people and helping them recruit people and helping them recruit people. I really believed that if I worked with people 3 or 4 or 5 generations deep, I could taproot and I could keep people upline. I think you got to simplify the complicated. You got to sell what you own on your own life. I want you to know I got $7 million of term life insurance on me. I got millions of dollars in mutual funds, and I show them on every appointment. I just did Alex, you'll love this. This is the first time ever happened in my career. My wife, Kelsey, got her 663 and her 26. And so she wanted to learn how to do an investment. So just so happens the first appointment we did, they had $250,000 to roll over. Nice. So I do this presentation. They want to set up an appointment with their current investment advisor. So I'm doing my first ever agent confrontation with investments in front of my wife, who just wanted to learn how to do a PAC. All of you guys that are watching, you know all I did? I pulled up my life insurance. I pulled up my investments. Now this couple was 50. They're both 50. I'm 35. Their investment advisor that they had was 55. I said, here's what I have. You can see it. Here's the rate of return. Here's how, and this is, I'm going to do the same thing with you as I did with me. And I said, so Mr. Investment Advisor, let's see what you have. And he goes, well, I'm not going to do that. It's kind of private. And I go, well, John and Mary, he won't even show you his investments, but I just showed you everything I got. So you choose whatever. Let me know. I hang up. And they text me. And they go, all right, you know, that slam dunk. And so my wife, some of you guys, Kelsey did like a $250,000 rollover last month as like a rep or something, you know, and it's kind of cool, you know, but that's because I don't need to overcomplicate it. I believe in this. Right. Yes. But they never do. You ask a trash value life insurance agent to see their policy, they never going to bring it. Ask them to see their mutual fund statements, they never going to bring it. I believe in it. Like Art said, when you really get down to it, we don't sell life insurance. We don't sell investments. It's so much bigger than that. At Primerica, we give people a chance to dream again. We give people a chance to hope again. We give people a chance to be excited again. My question is, are you that person? Because if you're not that person, how can you make that be somebody else? Number 3, to build big teams, you got to become a leader. You got to build it with the right kind of people. The common denominator of all great leaders is the do-it-first people. You know, in our country today, not to get all political on you, but all these people tearing down statues, all this crap, you ask them a question about one of these statues they're tearing down, they can't even answer the question. But George Washington, most people don't know, George Washington was elected by 100% of our country. 100%. He had led our country for 9 years before there was a president. And do you know why 100% of people said we want George Washington? Because George Washington was the first man on his horse. He would grab his gun and his sword and he would go into battle, and they would have camps set up with fires inside of it to keep him warm. And you know what he would do? My men aren't warm, so neither will I be. I will sleep next to my horse just like they will. He was willing to do it first. He would go into battle first. And this is why George Washington was elected by 100% of our country and then reelected, and they tried to get him elected as a third term, and he said, no, I'm not doing it. That's not why we fought this war. We fought this war so we could have a democracy. Do it first, people. People ever wonder why was George Washington so revered by politicians? That is why. He is a do-it-first man. My question is, are you a do-it-first person? How many directs are you at this month? How much personal production you closed field training people this month? You go get your licenses so you can go RVP? You got to lead by example. You know somebody leads by example by the leaders bulletins. All you got to do is pull up their numbers. You want to know the easiest way to offend somebody that'll never get big? Post their numbers. You want to know the best way to motivate a winner who will do whatever it takes to get big? Post their numbers.
Sweet.
Just telling you, it's the way it goes. If you're the kind of person, if your numbers are down and you go, oh, why did they have to show everybody? I feel like, man, I got to grow them. And you go, you know what? Next time they post my numbers, I'll be number one. I promise you, you are going to become so freaking wealthy. It's ridiculous. But if you're the kind of person that goes, why they got to post my numbers? I don't even want to plug in anymore. Blah, blah. Man, I don't even know what to tell you. You're probably the precious little snowflakes that get offended by, something on social media or something like that, right? If you want your people to go make money, you go make money first. If you want your people to recruit, you go recruit. Listen, you just do it first, and then people go, man, a lot of times people just want to know that you're willing to do it. That's it. It's not that they don't even believe that it can happen. They just want to know, are they willing to do it? You got to be so motivated, nothing can stop you. I already said that. I got the honor and the blessing to ask Art Williams a very important question to me that had eaten me up for years. See, I joined Primerica April of 2006. In August of 2006, I saw Art Williams speak live. I didn't even know who he was at the time. I was brand new. Nobody talked about Art. Coach hadn't come out, none of that kind of stuff. But Art stood on stage and he held his fingers up like this. And he said, the difference between winning is so small, it's scary to talk about.
Yeah.
For 4 days, he did this. So when I met him at the meetings of the Giant, I go, Art, I have a question for you that I've been begging to ask for years. I just have one question. Can I ask? And he goes, sure. I go, what is this much? You say the difference between winning and losing is so small, but you never say what the heck it is. I have it recorded. I have it recorded on my phone, me asking Art Williams the question. He says, Jeff, it's a special kind of attitude. It's a special kind of mental toughness. It's a special kind of hunger and a desire to be somebody.
Yeah.
I think if you're on here tonight, you want to be somebody. And my last point, to build a big team requires a oneness in your organization. Art Williams is famous for saying there's no two ways at Primerica. There's my way or the highway. And what he wasn't saying that he's always right. And I think this is the mistake. See, if your coaches, Alex and Sandra, call a play, it's not always going to be the right play. I want you to know that right away. They know it's not always going to be the right play. I know but it's always intended to be the right play. You want to know why it's so important to run the play regardless of whether or not you believe it's right? Because when you run a play that your coach calls, your team will run the play that you called. And this creates a oneness and a unity. And when there's a oneness and a unity, nothing can stop it. Nothing. So you run the play not because you're thinking, oh, this is what's going to be right or this one's going to be wrong, because it's the right thing to do. Because eventually they're going to call a play that is right. And when it is right, that's when you become an RVP. Most people fail because they keep changing. They keep changing. And then all of a sudden, they're no longer 35, 45, or 55 years old. And they don't have another 10 or 20 years to do it. You got to stop changing your philosophies. You got to make a decision to just say, listen, I'm going to be coachable. I'm going to go all in. I'm going to commit 100%. I'm going to give it everything I got. I'm going to go for it. For once and for all, I'm going to finish something in my life. That I'm going to win here. I'm going to succeed here. I'm going to do something big here. See, the single biggest obstacle to success for most people is not lack of education, it's not lack of money, but the lack of belief in yourself. That you say, man, I can do this. I deserve to be here. I can't tell you how much it means to me, you guys, for me to hear people like Alex and Sandra, or even, their uplines, or there's so many other great leaders in Primerica, and me to walk into a room and just feel like I belong. There's something special about it, but I want you to know everybody wants that feeling, everybody. But I didn't have to learn something. It wasn't like I had to go back to school. I went to college for 2 weeks, y'all. I came here and I had no money. We had $3,000. Well, we didn't. Kelsey had $3,000 saved in a Roth IRA that we cashed out when we moved. Because she was the saver, not me before. Now I'm the saver, she's the spender, right? But you know what I needed? I needed someone to believe in me. I tell people all the time, my upline, I love him. He was the best man at my wedding. I talk to him once or twice a year. And they go, why you don't ever talk to him? I go, I love him, right? He has a family, I have a family. I go, no. I go, understand. They go, you guys have a great relationship? Phenomenal relationship. You know why? Because he freaking believed in me when nobody else did. That's all I needed. I will forever be indebted to and be grateful for the man that believed in me when nobody else did. My question to you is, are you doing that for your people right now? Because when that happens, you start expecting to win, because if they believe in you, you should believe in you. And then you start expecting to win, and you always get what you expect.
Nice.
My last slide, and I'll open it up for some questions. I don't know what time you guys go to, but Art said, life doesn't give you what you want or what you'd love to have. Life gives you what you're willing to accept. If you accept being average and ordinary, life will make you average and ordinary. Winners always expect to win. And you got to expect to win. You've got to expect to win. So if tonight is your first night on this call, or you've been around for a while, I want you to dust off your dreams. I wish I could just show you my life for a minute. You wouldn't believe it anyway, honestly. I mean, it's hard for me to talk about how great it is. I feel like the luckiest man. Last night, I rolled over, I told my wife, I go, I know God loves me. She goes, what, why? I go, just look at our life. How could I have a life like this and God not love me?
That's good.
I know it. I want you to know that you can build a life that is so good. They always say, your life is going to be so good. Most people can only dream about it. No, people don't dream that good. People don't even dream this good. I'm telling you, I never imagined it would be this good. I never imagined it would feel like it feels, because the feeling is something you can't describe. It's like trying to explain the love for your children. You can't do it. It's like trying to explain what freedom is. But the best way I could explain it, and I'll be done, is this. This is the life you're in for. For years, I tried to figure out how I could explain what freedom is like. I could never figure it out. But I think I finally found out, when you're like 8 or 9 or 10 years old, and you're starting to get to that age where you just want to go hang out with your friends, but your mom makes you come home right as it's getting dark or when the street lights turn on, and man, you'll break every rule just to stay out a little bit longer, and then you'll sneak in even if you were late, and then as soon as the sun wakes up, you can't wait to get up and go out and hang out with your friends and play again, and you ain't worried about paying bills, you ain't worried about how much food costs or how much electricity bill is. You leave your light in your room on every night, and life is just fun. All you can think about every day is where you're going to go play tomorrow, who you're going to hang out with tomorrow, what you're going to do at school tomorrow, what you're going to wear tomorrow. That's all you can think about, because the responsibilities of life haven't set in yet. But take that feeling of being 8, 9, or 10 years old and make yourself 30 or 40 and be able to walk into any luxury store, any luxury automobile dealership, buying homes, whatever you want, and having that same feeling. But instead of wondering what you're going to wear tomorrow, you're wondering, where are we going to go buy a new house? Where are we going to buy new cars? Where are we going to take our kids for vacation? Where are we going to travel this year for Christmas? You want to go to the Bahamas? You want to go to Hawaii?
Yeah.
And you have that total sense of freedom and exhilaration about, I can't wait for tomorrow. That's what freedom is like. It's the best way I could explain it. And I want you to know that 4 or 5 years of busting your butt, rejection, all the crap you got to put up with is a million times worth. In fact, it's so small. I mean, it ain't crap. I forget it because it's so small compared to the reward. So Alex and Sandra, thank you guys so much for having me on tonight. I'm humbled. I'm honored. I'm blessed. I would do anything for you guys, and anytime, any place, whatever I can do for you. I'm always here.
Awesome. Jeff, you have the perfect Primerica story, man. Like, seriously, bro. It is unreal to see the pictures of the trailer and now to see where you live now. And, you know, you were a single guy when you got here. Now you got 3 amazing, beautiful kids. Like, but you work your butt off, man. And you deserve everything you're making and all the future money that's coming too, man. And you've changed so many people's lives in your hierarchy, man. That is super, super cool, man. Hey, we're going to open it up to some questions. I know our guys are going to want to ask some stuff. Guys, who's going to go first?
We'll go right here.
Hey, Jeff.
Go ahead.
Okay, hey.
They're fighting for it.
That's awesome. Go ahead.
Hey, Jeff. My name's Caitlin Blair. I just want to thank you so much for your time. And I remember when I first came into the business, I was recruited on an opportunity night. And you know, like that video they have in the beginning, I thought all of you guys were actors. And so that's super cool. This is like a real story, obviously a real story. But my question for you is, what mistakes do you notice when people very first start the business with us?
I would just say that the biggest mistake people make when they start the business is they're just not coachable. They don't know anything and they try to do it their own way and they're just not coachable. So I would think the opposite of that would be if you just be coachable, if you just do whatever your trainer tells you to do. And a lot of times it just doesn't make sense, right? And that's why it's not that they don't want to succeed, but it just doesn't make sense to them. And I understand. I mean, I think we've all been there. But a lot of times if you just have faith, right? That's the word faith is believing in the unseen, right? So faith doesn't always have to do with religion, but that's the reason we use it in religion, because nobody's met God, right? So you have to have faith that God is there if you've never met him. The same thing is in our business. You just have to have faith in your leaders that if you do what they teach you to do, you're going to have success. And even if your leader is a district leader, right, and you're brand new in the business, at least their district, they're further ahead than you. And so I think the biggest mistake I see people make is the unwillingness to be coachable. It's also the number one mistake I see regional vice presidents make as well, believe it or not. So the brand newest person and the brand new RVP, I think both make almost identical mistakes at brand new RVP and brand new in the business.
Wow,
Damn, it was amazing. Thank you so much. I appreciate
that was
Thank you.
Yeah, Jeff, it's go ahead.
What's up, Josh?
Yes, Jeff, it's Josh and Patty. We're direct to Alex and Sandra. Man, I'll never forget the first time I met you. It was in Waikiki. You were waiting to get seated with your wife, and Alex approached you, and he said, "Hey, bro, you're killing it." And you were like, "I don't know about killing it, but I mean," and I'll never forget that. And I was always super impacted by your big bass shop talk that you gave at one of the trips. And I remember you said, "I've never met anybody that has regretted building a big bass shop," you know? Right. And one of the things that I'm realizing right now during this talk right now is that you not only built a big bass shop, you've done it multiple times, but you also did it really fast. And my question is, for someone that wants to build a big bass shop during COVID on Zoom with this style of business that we're doing, what does the work ethic look like on a daily basis or a weekly basis?
Well, I think an important thing to remember is the fundamentals have not changed. Okay. Can you imagine if COVID happened and all the pastors in America were like, "All right, guys, we're going to start preaching to someone else now. I don't know. We can't all meet together and talk about Jesus. So let's just talk about something." You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So the fundamentals of our business have not changed. I mean, you still have to do the exact same things. And what I learned early on is, so my upline, he always told me, he said, "Jeff, if you'll recruit 2 to 4 directs a month and write 5 to 10 personal sales a month, you'll make $100,000 your second year." And that's exactly what happened to us, if you remember our track record. So then what happened is I realized then when we moved, I said, you know what, if I just condensed, if I took the same effort and I just put it in a smaller time frame, I'm going to get more results. And so that's what happened. So when he said, make 100,000 your second year, get 2 to 4 directs a month, he always said you should add 3 to 5 new names a day to your list. Just prospect 3 to 5 new people. And that genuinely is what I'm a very disciplined guy. So I can eat the same breakfast, same lunch, same dinner every day for 10 years and not care. I'm just that guy. Right. And so I did it. He told me to do it and I did it. But then when I moved to Las Vegas, I said, you know what, if it took me a year in Idaho to build a $30,000 base shop, I don't want to wait a year. So I want to do it faster. So then what I did is I said, all right, if I go get 15 or 20 names and numbers a day, then I should essentially be able to do it 75% faster. Now, it turned out it was a theory, but it turned out to be reality because my third month in Las Vegas, I did 91 recruits in my base shop and 29,000 in premium. And so 3 months, right? So, and I just went out and got 15, 20 names and numbers a day, 7 days a week. And I recruited 31 directs in 3 months. And the third month I recruited 91 in my base shop, set the Nevada state recruiting record. We beat it again since then, but you know, that's what happened. So I think you just have to remember that nothing's changed. The only thing that has happened is now we have an extra tool, right? So now we have this incredible tool where now we have the opportunity to recruit someone. You guys all realize we're an essential business. You can go to someone's house, right? You can do whatever the heck you wanted to do before, but now we also have Zoom. And so now what happens if we can meet, like I have a big team in New York State, in a small town of 5,000 people, I got a big team going on in New York State right now. And I've never met them. And last month in my hierarchy, we did business in 26 different states. 26. It's crazy. And that's all because of Zoom. So March, we did business. In March, our hierarchy did business in about 9 states. And in October or whatever, September, our business did business in 26 states. That's only because of Zoom, because it gave us the ability to meet with people like this, right? So I think the biggest mistake people are making in this era is that they think something's changed. Nothing has changed. You just have the ability to do more conveniently.
Right.
But remember, things that are easy to do are also easy not to do. Like it's easy to do 20 push-ups a day and do 20 jumping jacks and 20 sit-ups, and then you probably get your heart rate up and you probably start shedding weight, right? And probably start looking the way you want. That's an easy thing to do. It's not hard. It's not physically demanding. It's not gonna, right? But it's also easy not to do, and that's why most Americans are overweight and not in good shape. It's not like it's a hard thing to get in good shape.
Crazy, yeah.
It's just the thing that's easy to do is easy not to do. Same thing with prospecting. Same thing with doing appointments. Same thing with getting on calls. Same thing with meeting people on Zoom. Things that are easy to do are easy not to do. So I think if you can remember that nothing has changed, we just have incredible tools to help us grow. And you're willing to do everything plus more because now we have this huge economic climate where people are dying for what we do. I mean, think about this, Josh. We couldn't have planned this better. I mean, imagine if we were all sitting in the boardroom of Primerica in March and we went, hey guys, how could we screw up the world that would make our business perfect? I have an idea. Let's create a virus where people are dying and so they know they need life insurance. Yeah. But then they're going to get laid off from their jobs. So they know they don't have group life insurance. So they know they need personal life insurance. But then let's also have it so when they get laid off, they got to roll over their 401ks. But then let's also have it so the government keeps paying them, but it's not quite enough. So they know they need more money. And then they know there's no such thing as job security. But then let's keep the stock market high so they want to keep investing. And so our stock still does well. I mean, can you guys imagine like what is happening in the world today is the perfect storm.
Right.
For somebody to build a business. But for those of you guys that weren't around in 2008, 2009, Alex knows I was shouting this crap from the rooftops.
Yeah.
I saw it. I was in the middle of it. I was telling my teammates to throw their televisions in the trash because I didn't want the world to be impacting their minds. But now you all got social media. That's your problem. You can't throw your phone in the trash because you need it to make calls. But the problem is if you could get away from this mentality of shortage, shrinking, the world's ending, politics, all this crap, and you can get into the world of massive amounts of opportunity, 50 million people looking for what we do. Everybody needs life insurance. The market stayed high. Man, you should invest. There's more rollovers than ever before. $500 a month would save most people's lives, right? If you can get into that, you could recruit an army. Right. And just talk about those things, you know?
Right. Jeff, thank you so much. That helps me so much. Man. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Hi, Jeff. This is Desiree and Cesar Navarro. I want to thank you so much for being on the call and just taking time to speak to our organization. we're direct to Alex and Sandra. I'm also their daughter, but we're brand new RVPs. I mean, we've been RVPs for a couple, like maybe 2 weeks at this point.
Awesome.
And we have a lot of new people. Thank you. What are some things that you went through in the beginning that you could kind of like give them some advice, like things that you went through and how you overcame them?
Okay, I'll be lying. I mean, we went through a lot of tough stuff. I'll sit here and cry all day, but I forget most of it, to be honest with you. Okay. My wife would be the perfect one to tell you. I mean, I'll tell you, you know, in our career, I've been in the hospital. Kelsey had a stroke. Most people don't know Kelsey had a stroke and ended up in the emergency room. I've ended up in the hospital. My dad died. Kelsey's grandpa, who was super influential to her, died. We've had our number one regional leader in our Bay shop die. You know, and so we've had, I mean, we had another time during the Las Vegas shooting, and the number one regional in my Bay shop called me during the shooting and got shot. And, you know, and so, you know, we've had crazy stuff happen, but stuff happens. And the reason I'm not a big fan of going into the challenges, because everybody has them, right? What I would give you advice for anybody who's listening and you think your challenge is harder than anybody else's, if you ever think that, you're the exact person I'm talking to, okay? Mm-hmm. If you think your challenge is worse than somebody else's, you're not winning. So what you need to focus on is that there is somebody right now that if we all got in a circle and we all put our problems in the middle and said, hey, here, let's choose somebody else's problems, 99% of people would take their own problems back, right? Meaning that most of the time when we think our problem's bad, somebody else is winning with a harder challenge. So the reason why you don't hear me talk a lot about the problems is not that they don't matter, but my problems don't matter to you, because when you face your problems, they won't look the same, even though they will feel the same. Like my dad dying was not any easier for me than it was for anybody else who has, I mean, there's probably somebody listening who's lost a child. I couldn't even imagine, you know, there's people that have gone through far worse challenges. And then I all of a sudden can go, well, mine was easy, but it wasn't. Right. And so it's not the problems that define a winner or a loser. It's how you respond when those problems arise that defines whether or not you become a winner or a loser. So hopefully that helps. I know it's not a direct answer.
No, yes. Thank you so much. Again, I want to thank you for your time.
You're welcome. And by the way, you guys, if a check can solve it, it's not a problem. The problem is you're lazy, right? You need to go to work if a check can solve it. So if a check can solve it, it ain't a problem. All right. So go to work and write a check.
That was perfect right there at the end. I keep telling her, she got a contract. You got to make some money, 20, 30 grand. Why not? You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, honestly, our 10th month is RVPs. And your brand new RVP, I don't know what your rolling 12 is. Our rolling 12, so when we obviously moved to a new city, so it took us a minute to get it going. But we went over 50,000 our 10th month as RVPs, and then went over 100,000 our 12th month. So we went over 100,000 so fast. By the time we got our rings, we were over 200, right? And so you can explode, but it all comes down to recruiting. So, you know, if you're a brand new RP, you want to go get that ring, just start recruiting 30 a month. It'll happen. It'll like no time. 30 a month is the magic number.
30. That's so exciting to hear. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next. Who's next, guys?
I have a question here that's on the Q&A. It says, Jeff, I'm a huge fan of yours. Okay, here we go. I'm sorry. This one's first. I'm 21 years old, in business for a year, and I'm still a district leader. I have the fundamentals down. I know how to treat and talk to people, but just can't get over this small bump. What's the best advice you can give me?
Get over the bump and do it, right? You just got to do it. That's like, you know, that's like the smoker dying of emphysema going, what should I do? Quit smoking, right? So, it's like if you want to get rich, do it, right? If you have the fundamentals, and let's face it, the thing that's stopping you is fear. And I don't know if you're a believer, but I'm a believer. And so I always just imagine, like, if I'm letting fear stop me, I'm letting the devil win, and I ain't letting that sucker win. So anytime I have fear, I just charged, right? I charge, and I feel like, all right, if I have faith, if I really believe in God, he's going to guide me in the right place. I'm going to go for it, right? Even though I'm scared, I'm going to do it anyway. And my wife thinks I'm crazy because I always do this stuff. I'll go swimming with sharks. You know, I've been swimming with sharks all over the world. You know, if there's sharks to swim with, I'll go. Or, you know, people ask me, all right, someone asked me last week, I showed the picture, what's the fastest you got? I'm like, I don't know, 160 or 165 miles an hour. You know, I've been skydiving and all this stuff. My wife goes, you're crazy. You like, just don't care. I go, no, I do. But it's the fear, right? It's confronting my fears that makes me feel most alive. It makes me feel good when I confront my fear, even though I still have it. So most of the time when people think that people that succeed don't have fears, they absolutely have them. But it's the confronting them that makes, so like for me, when I confront my fears is when it makes me feel like maybe I do have some control over my life, or I feel good about myself because I confronted the thing that was stopping me. So if you have a little bump, it's just fear stopping you. Just go do it, and then you'll get over it, and then you realize it wasn't that bad.
There you go.
Awesome. Anybody else, guys, panelists, a question?
Yeah, I have one right here. Someone just posted, this is a good one. It said,
Yes.
you were an introvert when you started. Did it impact your recruiting when you started? And yes, it did impact my recruiting. It made me recruit more. Because I realized that if I became a big recruiter, then other people, other leaders would do the talking. Other leaders would do the leading. I didn't have to do it all. I didn't have to always be the one up front. So it was almost like a thing that most people saw. And if you guys notice, a lot of big leaders in Primerica are introverts.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop them, but it's one of the things that a lot of people like me, like I love people, okay? But they wear me out. That's the difference between an introvert and an extrovert. An extrovert, people charge them up, and an introvert, people wear them out. So for me, my wife, people charge her up, right? So when she goes to a party, she's excited, fired up. At the end of the night, she's just getting started. For me, I'm there for like 30 minutes. I'm like, all right, we can go. Like, I'm good, you know?
Yeah.
I love the people. And you'll see me giving hugs and high fives and seeing everybody. That's not what an introvert means. What it means, being an introvert, means that people, large groups of people or a bunch of people wear you out, right? I'm okay with being by myself, I genuinely. So it impacted my recruiting in a positive way where I wanted to recruit other people. I wanted them to be leaders, and I wanted them to speak. I wanted them to be the heroes. I wanted them to get recognition. I wanted them to believe in themselves. And so a lot of the fears that I had, I knew that I could recruit better people around me, and they would make me look better than I was. And that is what you're supposed to do to recruit. If you guys, after tonight, if you can remember one thing, I think this will help you in your career forever. You're supposed to recruit large numbers to find good people. And you know somebody is a good person when they add value to your team, which means that they bring something to the team that you may not have. For example, I'm an A-type personality. I'm more of an S the longer I've been here. But if you're an S-type personality, you drive me crazy, right? Like, I don't care about being on time. The speed limit is a suggestion. Rules are designed to be broken, right? Like, you tell me I have to wear a mask. I don't want to wear it just because you said I have to, right? But if you'll shut up and I'll wear it, right? But just don't tell me I have to and then I won't wear it. I'm a total A-type personality, right? But an S-type personality would drive me crazy because they always wanted the meeting to start on time and end on time. And Jeff, people have sitters and all this kind of crap. But who cares, right? But now the longer I've been here, the more I realize I need an S-type personality around me. Because if I have an S-type personality around me, they'll keep me on track. They'll remind me, hey, Jeff, you have this appointment or you have this place to be here. And I don't have to think a whole lot. They'll keep me on track. So I always wanted to recruit people and put them around me, even though they drive me crazy. I knew that that's what allowed me to grow, is putting people around me that were better than me. You know, which I think is something special about a great leader. The greatest leader doesn't need to be great, but you look at the teams of people that have been built, you know. Like just recently, I heard tonight one of my friends, and I got all kind of people political. I don't really care where you stand political, but someone sent me a thing of saying, you know, Donald Trump has all these super rich guys in his cabinet or whatever. And I go, I don't know. To me, that's not a bad thing. At least these dudes are leaving super rich lives, and now they're willing to take on public servant jobs and make no money. I think you got to be a pretty good recruiter to get great people around you and not have such a big ego that you have people that are more successful than you that'll help guide something, right? And so where he thought that it would, it actually turned out to be the opposite thing. So I think a lot of times the greatest leaders in our business are people that were humble enough to know that there are better people that they can put around them and makes them look better, but didn't make them better. It made the team better, and they just got recognition for it. So I think if you can really buy into recruiting, that's why I'm a recruiter. I love recruiting. I am a recruiter. That is what I do. That is who I am. And it's because I realize that's the only reason I am where I am today. It's not because of who I am, but because of who they are around me, right?
Yep.
So,
hey, Jeff, this is Alex. I've got a question. One of my favorite audios that you've got is where you talk about the importance of getting people off to a super fast start. Like you recruit somebody and immediately you're booking appointments.
Yeah.
Can you touch on that for a second?
Yeah, I think that that is for in our hierarchy, the thing that I've always taught is that when you recruit somebody, you do not leave until they have 3 to 5 kitchen table appointments set. You don't leave. And the reason why is because I want you to think about it, you guys. Why do most field trainers not set an appointment with their new? Why do when they do a fast start, they don't have their new recruit set an appointment? And it's because it's uncomfortable. And it's uncomfortable, so they don't like it. So the trainer avoids the uncomfort, and the trainee avoids the uncomfort. So by avoiding it, how did you help it? You didn't. Let me help you guys some. The only way you can ever solve an issue is by confronting it. If you get cancer, you're not going to survive because you denied it. No, it didn't happen. I'm just going to avoid it. You better confront it, right? If you I don't know, if you're overweight and the doctor tells you you're going to die of a heart attack, you better confront it. If you just go, no, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, you're going to die of a heart attack, but you better confront it, right? And so it's an easy thing to understand, but it's a hard thing to enact, right? Because it's uncomfortable. And so when I understood that I got so uncomfortable with the new recruit, I said, you know what? They go home and they feel 10 times the fear that I feel because I'm uncomfortable, but they go home and they know nothing about nothing. These are their friends and their family. They're worried about criticizing all this kind of stuff. So if they go home, I'm never going to see them again. But at least if I can confront the uncomfort and I can help them set an appointment. So if their family member says something, I'm there, I can pick up the phone, or I can help them with what to say, and I can get 3 or 4 or 5 appointments. The feeling they feel when they leave is not going to be any different, but the result will be dramatically different. And here's the difference to the result. If you don't set an appointment, they leave, they're uncomfortable, they doubt themselves, they never make a call, they're so uncomfortable, they go, I don't want to do this. And then they quit and they enter the witness protection program. But if you set 5 appointments with them, they leave and feel the same thing. But the difference is they go, well, I'll see how my appointment goes tomorrow. Now, if they take me on their appointment tomorrow, I'm recruiting one of their friends. And now when I recruit one of their friends, they're bouncing off the walls. Their friends are bouncing off the walls. And then I set 5 appointments with their friend. And now when they go home, they're thinking about quitting their job because now they got so many appointments. Appointments are coming out their ears.
Right.
And they've only been on one. And so I wanted to get a new person believing, again, back to that belief thing. So as uncomfortable as it was for me, the reason why I did that on a fast start was all for that new person to stick around long enough for them to see what I was going to help them accomplish.
Huge. Huge, man. Wow. Hey, Jeff, my son's been blowing up my phone. He's in his room. Right? And he wants to say hi real quick. His name's Nathaniel. He's 15.
He's hard of hearing.
He's hard to hear you, so you may not be able to catch everything he says, but he's
remember him.
He's gonna give it his best. Nate, are you there?
Yeah. Hi, Debbie. Thank you so much this time. Man, I like your stories talking about the people on the 30,000 people on the Zoom. Man, Jay, thank you for that, for that. Thank you for the 30,000 for thank you for told me to we send a wiki on the photo. Dad, did you just have to say thank you?
Yeah, everybody
You're
said.
welcome, man. You are welcome.
He
I'm
said
honored to be on.
he can't wait to see you in Florida, he says.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
Awesome.
I got it.
Awesome.
He also
I think
said
I got most.
for everybody to text to say thank you. on
Yeah.
the chat.
Hey guys, let's give Jeff a big thanks. Send him a message right there on the chat, guys. Everybody, go. Let's start now. Tell him how much you appreciate his time. What time, Jeff? What time is it where you're at? Are we on the same time zone then?
Yeah, 10:30. Yeah, it's not a
Okay,
big deal.
okay.
Yeah.
Either
You're
way,
good.
man, you took time away from your children.
Sure, no,
There we go. Look at that. It's blowing up. There we go. We still have over 220 people on the call.
We got as many as
Yeah.
267.
We had 267, man. That's big.
awesome.
Big, yeah. Hey, guys, you make sure that when you see Jeff in person, you walk up to him, give him a high five, say thank you, hug him, right? Introduce yourself, build relationships with guys like this, man. Jeff is a legend. Jeff, seriously, man, thank you so much, bro. Like, for real, we appreciate you and your friendship, and we can't wait to get big together, man. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Anytime. I love you guys. Anything I can do. Honored to be on. We'll see you guys. Have a great night. God bless.
Bye.
God bless, bro. Have a good night.
That was great. That was awesome.
Right? When it's time to win, it's time to win.
Someone's in New York right now, right?
Yeah.
1:34 a.m.
134. We got Oregon in the house. Hey, if you can put that in the chat, tell us where you're at. Tell us what city you're in, what state you're in. Atlanta, Florida. Okay, the dirty South. Seattle, Washington.
Reno.
What is that? Freona? Nevada. Salem. New Jersey. Okay.
Alabama.
Portland.
Sweet.
Cam, there was somebody from New Jersey.
Sweet.
Jersey?
You
like when I say that, huh? British Columbia.
Wow, look at that, Canada.
That is super cool.
Welcome, guys. Hope you guys
Point.
have some gold nuggets to help your business and explode, right? Because that's what it's all made for.
Yep. Awesome. Canada. Yuma, Arizona. Oh,
Woo-wee.
snaps. Okay. Yuma's in the house. Hey, guys, this was a phenomenal call.
Yes.
Man, Jeff absolutely lit it up, right? Talked about the 4 key points to building a big base shop, a big business, right? And I was trying to write all this stuff down, man. I couldn't keep up. So I was taking, like, pictures of everything. But I'm going to make sure that we get this thing uploaded where you guys can all have the entire conversation, right? And we'll get that out to you by tomorrow.